Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Mank, a new movie by David Fincher, written by his dad, Jack Fisher. I'm a fan of David Fincher. Watched, all of his movies pretty much. Even the one that he regrets doing, the Alien 3, I think it's called, or Alien Resurrection. I forget which one David Fincher directed, but I felt like it was one of the few Alien sequels that was trying to do something new. The special effects were a little bit poorly rendered, but for an early film, for David, I enjoyed it, despite I don't think he likes it. But anyway, Mank, new movie, Netflix. It is a I would say a great companion piece with Citizen Kane, being that Mank or Mankiewicz was the screenwriter for the film Citizen Kane, which is a film that's regarded as being the best film to ever be created. I tried to watch Mank 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't. I was so distracted. I was not in it. I have never seen Citizen Kane. I think maybe I've seen part of Citizen Kane, but I had never seen it. So a lot of what's going on, it's kind of one of those things which I don't like with movies, where a movie really performs better if you do homework for it, which this one. You don't need to necessarily watch Citizen Kane, but knowing things about Citizen Kane probably help flesh out some of what's going on in Mank. I don't think it's to the extent of like DC films, like a lot of the DC comic book movies that have come out. Really only work if you know all the backstories. Like, you have to do a bunch of homework going in to get all the references that are in those movies. And if you don't get the references, then it's just just horrible storytelling. So this one I wouldn't say is that kind of extreme as far as needing to do homework. But I would say watching Citizen Kane first would help improve, or at least understanding what Citizen Kane is about. Because this is very much like if you were to fictionalize and tell the story of the making of Citizen Kane, because that's kind of what this movie is, at least from the screenwriter's perspective of Mankiewicz, which it actually has similar themes to Citizen Kane, which I will be talking about later on in the week. But this movie, Mankiewicz, played by Gary Oldman, he is a shit talker. He's brutally honest. Regardless of company surrounding him, regardless of audience. Obviously, he's also an alcoholic. So being brutally honest and open and calling people out on their shit becomes much easier to do when you're intoxicated. So the character himself is kind of that kind of he's just real. Right? And he's surrounded by a bunch of people that aren't real, a bunch of politicians and wealthy people who, tend to put on a facade in order to maintain their kind of, regal integrity or whatever it is. But then behind closed doors, obviously, are completely different people, where Mank is kind of more of a real ass dude who doesn't put up with their bullshit and is honest. And they like to have him around because he is so honest. I really enjoyed it. So for those that aren't familiar with Citizen Kane, it's not directly about William Randolph Hearst, who was in control of a lot of news. He was very notable in his propaganda, especially his propaganda against marijuana, because the hemp industry was going to overtake the paper industry and to destroy the hemp industry before it gets started. He decided to demonize marijuana and make it federally illegal, so that hemp wouldn't be able to take over his paper company, one of the company and his news. It would have trickled down and affected his ability to make millions of dollars. That's why hemp in this country is still illegal, despite you can recreationally smoke weed, but the actual industrialized hemp, at least maybe that's changed recently, but I know legalization for the psychoactive part of marijuana or hemp uh, has become legal far sooner than the industrialized hemp. I think a lot of companies were having to order hemp from like Canada because of good old William Randolph Hearst. And if you've ever been to Southern California, you can go to Hearst Castle, which is the big giant estate that he built because he had all kinds of money. So Citizen Kane was a movie loosely based on William Randolph Hearst and was a pretty heavy critique. Orson Welles directed the film. Mankiewicz obviously wrote the screenplay, and it is a movie that really took shots at the people that Mankiewicz surrounded himself in reality. I mean, the thing with Mank is that you're seeing him. It kind of flashes back. It goes from the process of him. Kind of he's recovering from a car accident while writing the screenplay. So it's him kind of writing the screenplay. Shots of that, and then it flashes back to actual events that he was around with William Hearst and all the other people that were involved with the kind of story that Citizen Kane became. Flashes back to those moments, and you get to kind of see the real moments, which is a bit confusing because you're watching a movie telling the story of real events, supposedly about a person writing a movie of those real events in a fictionalized story that later will be turned into a movie in Citizen Kane. So kind of some layers of meta-ness, which Citizen Kane itself has bits of layers that it was described in Mank. How he wrote Citizen Kane was that it's like it goes for full circle. It's very much like a cinnamon roll, which if you've seen Citizen Kane, that it makes sense. It makes sense that's a apt description. But yeah, this movie's great. It's made to look very old. It's got it's black and white. They tried to degrade the look of the black and white, which I don't think they got anywhere near Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane has a very distinct kind of very high contrast look, but with very, very dynamic compositions. Where this one, there's a lot more grayscale on this. It's not quite as high contrast. Still beautiful looking film. They have cigarette burns, which for those that aren't familiar, I mean, it's something that was featured in a different David Fincher movie, Fight Club. For anybody that's ever been a projectionist, especially when projectionists actually ran film through projectors at movie theaters, back when movie theaters existed, they had to switch, instead of splicing the reels together, which is what I did when I was a projectionist. They used to have two projectors, and movies would come on small reels, even today when they get shipped out to theaters that still play actual film. It's usually like 5, 6, 7, 8 reels. But they would switch, and to signify to the projectionist that he needs to switch the reel, there were little dots in the upper right corner of the film stock called cigarette burns, and they would blink on just before you needed to switch the reels, and then it would blink. I don't know if it would be a double blink, but it would blink back on again. And you would switch the projectors, and doing it right, it would look like nothing ever happened. It's just like usually a change of scene when they add those cigarette burns in, those transitions in. And the movie itself not only had the cigarette burns, but it had that kind of jump look that you would get from switching projectors, or even having two reels spliced together. You would get that kind of look. So they definitely made it look. The sound was engineered to be very echoey, very similar to. I don't think it captured, like, it was all doing. It all felt like an impression. Like, it didn't. None of it felt real. Like the degrading the quality of the look of the movie to make it look old, I don't think really, really paid off. I don't buy it. The cigarette burns were a fun kind of a thing with the splices. You also see them in the Grindhouse films that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did. You'll see some like splicing and some of that similar kind of a look. And then the sound, the echoey sound was really off-putting the first time I tried to watch Mank, but then after watching the Citizen Kane, it wasn't as bad, because it was kind of a similar thing that happened back in the old time. But I enjoyed it. The movies, it's about a guy, an artist, kind of getting revenge on people that treated him like he was their entertainment, like he was their monkey, and they were the monkey grinders. And there's a whole metaphor throughout the movie that kind of does that. But it's interesting to see kind of the universe that Citizen Kane was talking about, as told through more of a grounded lens, I guess you could say. So I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite David Fincher movie. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great companion piece to Citizen Kane, which I'm actually more excited to talk about later on in the week. Sign up for Ting's cell phone service. They have super cheap cell phone plans. You only pay for what you use, and you get $25 for credit when you go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. Use that $25 for your bill for a new phone. If you already have a phone, bring it on over. I love Ting. I've been using them for years, and I think you'll love them too and love saving money. Get yourself $25 in credit. Go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!